So we have discussed about plugin creation in WordPress. So we have created a file in WP plugins folder, and within that we have mentioned the plugin name. And now we are seeing what we can do on activation and deactivation. So think about a real world scenario where you activate premium membership of a club or library. So obviously you will get added benefits on activation and you will lose those benefits of deactivation. So similarly we can execute some tasks on public activation and deactivation. So WordPress provides a concept called hooks where you can trigger certain tasks to add new behavior or modify existing behavior. So let's look into the code for activation and deactivation hooks. So function fwds underscore slider underscore activation, register underscore activation underscore hook of underscore file underscore, and previously we are having the function name fwds underscore slider underscore activation, and we have registered the activation hook. So another function is function fwds underscore slider underscore deactivation. This is another function, and we are registering the another hook register underscore deactivation underscore hook. So within that, as a first parameter the file, and the second parameter is the function name, that is a deactivation function name, that is fwds underscore slider underscore deactivation. So above code contains two functions called fwds underscore slider underscore activation and fwds underscore slider underscore deactivation. PHP function is a reusable piece of code where we can execute multiple times. So even as a designer you might have a basic idea about functions, since PHP functions are similar to JavaScript functions. So then we have the two hooks called register underscore activation underscore hook and register underscore deactivation underscore hook. So don't worry too much about hooks, as you will understand them while learning about plugin development in this series. So for the moment, just define these hooks with plugin specific activation and deactivation functions and execute necessary codes inside the function. So why do we use activation deactivation hooks? We can create basic plugins without considering activation and deactivation functions, but advanced plugin will require these functions to provide additional features. Following is a list of possible things we can do inside plugin activation deactivation. So create custom database tables on activation to store data and remove tables on deactivation. Create custom options for plugins and activation and reset in deactivation. Validate other dependent plugin on activation. Any other necessary task you need to execute in activation. So now we have discussed the importance of WordPress plugins for designers and its structure. From next part onwards, we will be digging into the technical aspects of WordPress plugins. So don't be afraid of complex PHP or JavaScript codes, since I will be covering all the necessary details about those codes in a simplified manner to suit web designers. So coming up, in the next part we will be digging into the actual code to learn the necessary functionality for creating a plugin. WordPress core functions needed to implement plugins will be discussed in detail from designer's perspective. So throughout the next part we will be building a template for creating design based plugins. Until then I suggest that you read the following resources and get an ideas about plugin development. So there are two parts: writing a plugin, WordPress shortcode API. So you can grab a copy of the plugin here. The plugin does not include any functionality yet. So you can only see how it activates and deactivates using WordPress admin. So I have made my explanations in a simplified manner to suit web designers. Still, I know that it can be difficult for designers who basically concentrate on HTML, CSS without considering JavaScript. So let me know anything you didn't understand through the comment section, and I will get back to you with much more simplified explanations. So also let me know what is your preferred slider and why you voted for it. So let's take the next step. So basics for creating WordPress plugin template. So today we are going to talk about the core WordPress theories and techniques required for creating design focused plugins. Our final goal is to learn WordPress plugin development while integrating a jQuery slider into WordPress from scratch. Throughout this tutorial, we will be learning the necessary coding techniques using sample slider as the example. So by the end of this tutorial, you will have a simple template which is common to most of the design basic plugins. So what types of files are needed for design basic plugins? So consider the following image which illustrates the files in a common plugin for creating design basic components. It is WordPress plugin structure, JS, CSS, other files, HTML, PHP. So we are going to have different relationships. So as you can see, JavaScript and CSS will be kept in separate folders inside the main plugin. The main PHP file contains the plugin definition and the important initialization functions of the plugin. So if you are developing a single file plugin, all the codes will be kept inside the main PHP file. Although HTML is the most important type of file for you as designers, it doesn't show up as a separate files in the given screen. Actually, so there won't be any HTML files inside the WordPress plugin. All the necessary HTML codes are generated through PHP files. The preceding screen shows the basic folder and file structure of a WordPress plugin. We can necessary libraries and additional files to modularize our plugin to increase the reusability. So understanding the components of this slider. So throughout this series, we will be integrating a jQuery slider plugin to learn WP plugin development. So therefore, it's important to get used to main components of a jQuery slider as shown in the following: jQuery library, jQuery plugin file, initialization code, CSS files used for plugin, HTML or images used for sliding. So including scripts in WordPress plugins. So our slider plugin contains 2 JavaScript files at the moment. So and we'll have the third one for plugin initialization code. Most of the beginner developers makes the mistake of including scripts incorrectly inside WordPress plugins. So this section will focus on identifying the mistakes and learning how to avoid those mistakes in order to comply with the best practices. So I assume that most of the readers of this tutorial will be designers. So let's see how we include script files in static HTML websites. So there is a HTML script, and we basically hardcode all the script files into head section of the HTML document or footer section. This is not a problem at this stage since we are building static websites. So now let's see how these scripts are included in WordPress plugin by developers who are not experienced in WordPress. The wrong way of including scripts. So most inexperienced developers directly includes the scripts inside the PHP files using the echo statement as shown in the following code. So this is considered as a bad practice in plugin development. So the code parents the scripts files anywhere in the HTML file, so it can be header, footer, or body depending on location you place it. So even though we have a separate header for WordPress themes, it's not wise to hard code the files in the header. So in static websites, you can manage these files inside. You will be the only designer. WordPress has plugin-based architecture, and hence anyone can write plugins. So therefore, there is a high possibility of duplicating the same files with the technique mentioned above. The right way of including scripts. Now, we are going to look at the right way of including scripts considering the limitations in above technique. WordPress came up with a concept called action hooks that will be executed at a specific points of a request or even a specific event occurs in your system. So you can define as functions to be called in these execution points. So it will take time to understand the complete concept of WordPress action hooks, even for an experienced WordPress developer. For the moment, think of it as a code that calls PHP function at specific points. Consider the following. So function, my custom functions, and add action with the action name and the function name we are going to add. So we can replace the action name with predefined WordPress hooks or using our own custom hooks. How to use different functions to different actions. In-depth knowledge of action hooks will be provided in future tutorials. So when you're comfortable with basics of plugin development, now let's switch back to the correct method for including scripts. WordPress provides a predefined hook called WP_NEQ scripts to include script files and pages. So inside our custom function, we have to include the scripts one by one. So considering the following. So this add action, WP_NQ script, WP register script, whereas the plugin URL as a second parameter, WP_NQ script, WP register underscore script. So preceding code calls the HWS scripts function in the execution process using the WP_NQ scripts action. How use WPDS first web designer / as the prefix for my functions. So it's recommended to prefix your plugin functions that string related to your plugin name to avoid conflicts with functions in other plugins. So inside WPDS underscore scripts, we have used two other functions for including script files called WP_NQ underscore script and WP register underscore script. WP_NQ script is used to include the script file to the HTML document. jQuery is one of the libraries which comes inbuilt with WordPress, and hence we can include it directly as shown in the code. Latest version of jQuery will be included in this technique. WP register script is used to register a script file into WordPress. We have to register the slider plugin file and initialization file since it is not built in with WordPress. First parameter is a unique name to register your library. Next, you have to provide the path of the JS file plugins underscore URL function will provide the URL of the plugin folder. Third parameter specifies the dependent libraries. In this scenario, our plugin file depends on the jQuery library. We don't have to manage dependencies with this technique. Before registering any script, WordPress checks whether it has been already registered using the given unique name. File is loaded only when it's not loaded previously. So it will prevent the file duplication, discussed in the earlier section. If you register the same script file with different names, WordPress will not be able to handle the file duplication. Slide.js core plugin file is named as jQuery slides main.js, and we have included it in the preceding code. Also, we have included the initialization part of the library inside another JS file called slides.initialize.js. Following code contains the initialization code inside the JS file. There are various other recommended ways of including scripts files without using WP enqueue scripts action hook. Technique discussed here is good enough for us to learn plugin development as desired. I will also cover the other techniques when required. Thank you. This is your VishwaSainyamm chief, the universal dynamic star, the public star, Vishwaddharma, the future Prime Minister of India.